Good morning, good morning, good morning. What a fantastic morning it is. Look at that, Simpsons clouds. And really, autumn's really starting to get going now. So I'm very pleased. I've got good news and brilliant news. The dentistry is, I'm winding it down slowly. So I've worked Monday morning, took Tuesday off. I'm working all day Wednesday. I've got tomorrow off, and I'm working Friday morning, but not Friday afternoon. So and I think we'll get all the patients squeezed in that time. There's money in the bank account to pay the wages. That's the main thing. I paid my mortgage off now, finally. I think I've mentioned that before, but you wouldn't believe it's like a weight lifted off your shoulders when you're going. It's getting to that time of the month where I would normally have to start thinking, well, the mortgage is coming out next week, etc. And so I would have like £2,500 to find from somewhere. And in fact, I don't need to, because HSBC, or HSBBs, as my gardener calls it, I've lost interest in me. They sent me two nice letters. One saying I've paid my account off and thanks very much for doing business with them. And if they, if I want to borrow any more money off them, I'll be very welcome. With a credit score of 999, I'm not surprised. And another one which we also pinned on the fridge, which was the closing balance, which I think I paid them £8 more than I should have done, and they've refunded the £8 into my account, and happy days. So I know I haven't made one of these for a while, but I'll tell you, being a dentist is so much not about doing dentistry. Sometimes, especially when you're self-employed and you've got your own practice and everything. I had a non-functional chair. I have two chairs. They're pretty much side by side. And when one's not working, we use the other one while we fix the first one. And one of them had a problem with the light. So we stripped all the cabling out of the light arm and put the new but then it wouldn't work. It didn't work. So we had to do some continuity testing to try and find out which wire wasn't connected, and sure enough, I've got a fantastic all singing, all dancing mag thing for electronics, that electricians have, with a clicky dial on the front and everything, and all these symbols, Greek symbols all over it. And can it test the continuity in a wire? Yes, of course it can. But could I work out how to do it? No. Well, not consistently anyway. So this chair was in bits for a long time, and then I finally, looking through my toolkit for something else, came across an old continuity tester that I had, and one that literally has a PP9 battery in it, where the light comes on if there's a continuous signal. So we got all the light together. So this is all about fixing things, okay? All the things you have to fix. So I fixed the light, but prior to that, we'd had all these leaks, hadn't we, with the air pipes cracking and splitting. So we'd had to source and wire all the a lot of the air pipes inside the other chair. So we did that, and then there was a slow hand piece dripping, but then that stopped after a while because it was just the chair hadn't been in use for a while. So it sort of the valve wasn't shutting properly, it's solenoid. Funnily enough, I found you can get a ton of stuff. These chairs, I know they're proprietary chairs. What are they doing there? They're drilling for water or oil. Anyway, so although they're proprietary chairs, mine are Castellini, I think. No, Anthos. they use bits which you can buy anywhere, you know. So if one of your solenoids does go, or a bit of air pipe splits or something, you can always source a replacement. And I think you get quite good at that, you know, after a while. Especially my chairs are over 20 years old, so I mean, you know, it's not surprising that they're going up and down all day. It's not surprising things go wrong. But so I had a day off yesterday, and it's amazing what a day off to fix everything, all the problems in your life could do. Like, for example, I don't know if you remember, but about a year ago, I had a bit of a run-in with my local lawnmower centre. I wanted to buy a larger lawnmower, and I mean a big one, you know, like a £9,000-10,000 job. And I went over there, chose it, and they said that they would order it if I paid for it. And I tried to pay for it over the phone with my credit card, and they said, no, you need to come in and pay for it. So basically I told them I'd changed my mind. It's a long story, you can go back and listen to it if you like. One of the funniest stories in my life about the Staines watch shop. And yesterday I finally bought it, and I was going to buy it from the same people, but my mower that I'm using at the moment had a problem. Excuse me. I had a problem with the gearbox, so I asked my local mower centre who have serviced this before. I asked them if they could do the service and you know, check the clutch and everything. And it turned out that the clutch didn't need checking. It was just stuck or something, and they unstuck it on the premises. But I happened to, because I was there when they picked it up, I said to this bloke, I'm going to buy another one anyway, so you can have it as long as you like, because I'm going to put it on Facebook Marketplace. So he then said, well, are you buying it from us? And I said, no. I said, I'm going, you know, to Ashford to buy it. I said, and I told him it was a Ariens mower, and he said, oh, we got loads of those in. You should buy it from us. Well, the recommended retail price for this mower is £9,400, including VAT. And, which I know is a lot of money, yeah, I know. But then you have to pay on top of that £300 for a thing called a mulch plug, which I don't know what that is. But anyway, what it means is it chops the grass up so fine that, you know, that people don't come in with it all over their shoes. And also what they call a hitch bar or tow hitch, which is basically just a metal plate on the back with a hole drilled through it, which means that you can tow stuff. So like a roller. So by the time in Ashford they'd added this 300 and this £80 or something onto the 9,400, they were going to charge me 9,800, which I presume, you know, obviously includes delivery. So I was going to pay 9,800. Anyway, when this bloke heard that I was going to drive off to Ashford to buy this, and I was doing it right now, he rang his boss and said, you know, can we give this bloke a good deal? So what they've done is they've done for me for 9,350, which is £50 less than the RRP. They're going to throw in the mulch plug and the tow hitch, and I think an upgraded seat, which is more sort of bouncy, and also service my old mower and polish it up, you know, steam clean it and everything, get it looking like it's fantastic, ready for sale. So I don't know how much I'll get for that. Probably, I don't know, 300, 400 quid or something. So I'm very pleased about that deal. So I'm paying, instead of paying 9,800 and paying to have the old mower serviced, which would have been another 4, I'm paying 9,350 and getting the whole lot. So that's all's well that ends well in that department. And this Ariens machine that I'm buying is a beast. I mean, it's a monster. I mean, the grass starts quaking as soon as they see it driving out. It's got 3 blades on it. It's 5 foot wide. It's the one that you see the local authority cutting the grass with, except that my one's bigger. Oh dear. And then what else? I fixed loads of stuff. I had a leak in the downstairs toilet. The floor in the downstairs toilet was always wet. Fortunately, it's a tile floor and it hasn't really done any damage, but I mean, it's been like it for months. And I finally, I thought it was the waste, the 90-degree junction leaking out the back of the waste. I don't know why I thought it was that. Anyway, we took it all apart and descaled everything and put it all back together, which was a lovely job. And and what I've done, I bought a really big Jubilee clip, like 5 inches across, and tightened it around this fixing because it's plastic. And then it turns out that wasn't the problem at all. The problem is there was a slight leak on the input side of the cistern, which is where the water pipe goes up. The new water pipe, the cold water pipe goes up into the bottom of the cistern, and there was just a leak on the connector there, and I mean it's sticking out like a tail on a dog's bum. What the problem was, because that pipe was all wet, and I'm thinking, how could it? If I just looked at it carefully, and I would have thought, how can that pipe be wet? It must be because one of the joints at the top was leaking and it was dripping down that pipe and then onto the floor. And there's me thinking it's the wastewater, and it's not. It's fresh water, input water. So we get a spanner out, a couple of 1/8 or 1/4 twig turns on the plastic connector, and it's all done. It's all dry as a bone. And that's probably been like that for a year. Well, I'll tell you how long it was like that. It was like that for long enough for me to need to put some kettle descaler on the tiles to clear it all up. By the way, if you want a good kettle descaler, Kill Rock is good. You sort of put water in enough to cover the scale, boil it up, and then stand back and just gently introduce the Kill Rock in, and it'll fizz up. And then when it stops fizzing, have a little look and see whether you need to use any more. If you do, get tip it out, fill it up again, boil it up again, and put a bit more in, and then eventually it'll come up clean as a whistle. But don't get near it because it gives off noxious fumes. So don't do what I did and stick your head over the top of the kettle and have a good old look inside, see what's going on. This is one of these things you need to observe from a distance. So my car's been fixed. It had all this generator bearings had gone, and the power steering pump bearings had gone, so that's all fixed. Had a light in the bathroom pinged, so I replaced it with another bulb, and I replaced it with what looked like a fairly modern looking bulb, screw-in type, and when I turned the light on, it kept flashing, and I realised what I'd done is I put a bulb in which is programmable. And the reason why I had these programmable bulbs spare is I don't have that many screw-in fixtures, and not that I want to program, you know, so they've just kept them in. Look at the smoke coming out the back of that Skoda. That's see, I've always wanted to buy a Skoda, but I'm glad my wife's not in the car, because if she's angry, if she saw that, she's always been against me buying a Skoda. And I said, no, they're good now, you know, they've been taken over. I never understood why they never got rid of the Skoda brand. Honestly, the Skoda brand, you know, was so tainted that I don't understand why they didn't just dump it, and anything would have been better than Skoda. And this is obviously one of the old ones, or it may be one of the new ones, and they're just as bad as the old ones. So where was I? Yeah, so so every time you went to go to the toilet and put the light on, you used to sit there while this bulb was flashing away in the ceiling. Anyway, so I've swapped that over for a normal bulb. So now no flashing. What else? Oh, I don't know. I've just fixed so much stuff. It's so great to, and as I say, it's nice when you can do it yourself, you know. You don't have to keep calling people in. I had a fence. It's a chicken wire fence. It was 6 foot tall, and it was 6 foot tall because they used to keep chickens on this piece of land. It's just next to my house. It's not a very big piece of land, but it's right next to the house. And 10 years ago, a car drove through the fence. So what I did was I got it replaced on the insurance. And then a month ago, another car, because it's on a junction, and the cars go round the junctions and you know, skid on the corner and go up the bank into the plot of land. Well, there's nothing on this plot of land. It's just scrub. It's all hawthorn and not hawthorn, you know, brambles and stuff. But they take and then what they do is they just reverse out of the fence and leave it all pushed in. And then to add insult to injury, Southern Water turned up and decided that they want to get access to these valves, which are on the land, and they just cut a panel out of the fence, just out of the chicken wire, just cut it and just went. And it was so unnecessary because they didn't tell me that they were coming. Otherwise, I could have shown them how to get in round the back without going through the fence. But they just turned up and pushed through the fence. This is a firm called Clancy, Docra, or the Clancy Group. Clancy, they're called. And they do all of Southern Water's infrastructure, drains and pipes and stuff like that. But they just don't care. They come up, they do the job, they make a right mess. They leave an unhappy customer for Southern Water to deal with. So I finally said to them, fortunately I've got legal expenses insurance. So I said, I'm going to, you know, I'm just going to take this further with Southern Water because it's only going to be a few £1,000. And you can do that in small claims. I'm very happy with doing money claims online. And so I've literally, after, you know, 10 calls to customer support, and being promised by someone called Anna that she would faithfully get back to me by Friday at the latest, and she would personally sort me out and tell me what's going on. And then I think what happens at Southern Water is they then get told that, you know, don't bother with that. This bloke needs to, he'll twig sooner or later. He's just got to put it through on his insurance. You know, don't bother yourself about it. You've got more important stuff to deal with. Here we go. Who dares wins. And so these people, they start all young and idealistic, and yes, I'll take ownership of your problem, and then no, they get made cynical by the staff. So I decided I was going to upgrade my graphics card at work so that I can render these videos quicker, which is one of the reasons why I've not been doing so many. And so I decided to upgrade from a 180 to a 4070 Ti. So I bought it second hand off of CEX, and the shop that was supposed to send it to me didn't send me a Ti model, which is turbocharged. They sent me just a normal 4070. So, and it wasn't until I'd taken my computer apart, put this new graphics card in, that I realised that it was not the turbocharged model I'd paid for, but one which was 30% slower and 60% worth 60 quid less. So CEX only does one thing when you complain. They just say send it back. So I had to take this. Now the problem is that this thing is in my computer at work. It's in the server. So fortunately, Monday afternoon I wasn't working. So we went to the CEX shop in Ramsgate, where I've got to say, there was a bloke, I think his name was Sam, was really brilliant. And what he did was he took it back. He gave me a credit for it, and within 10 minutes, and then he had a 4070 Ti in the shop, although he was trying to sell that for about $490, and I'd paid $465. And I said to him, seeing as it's like your CEX's fault that you sent me the wrong card, and now the card that I wanted is now 25 quid more expensive. Well, I don't think I should have to pay that. And he was like, yeah, I can see your point. And so he gave me this card that was going for $490 for $465. So all in all, I'm now, so I didn't want to put the old graphics card in and then have to wait and order a new one and then put that in. So that's enabled me to put the new one in straight away in the space. And so my server's now running with a 4070 graphics card, which is not going to make any difference to the speed of the server, really, the dental software or anything. And it's not going to make any difference to, it's not like I play games on it, which would be or mine Bitcoin or anything. It might be well, not these days, but would have been a use case for these high-end graphics cards. It's literally just for video rendering. So I hope you bloody appreciate it. The surgery's had to pay 465 quid for an activity which is designed to promote the surgery, so it's therefore tax deductible, but could have been spent on something else. The other news to report is, I'm pleased to say, it looks, I mean, my year end is 30th September, so I can't be entirely sure, really, until the end of October, and we've had all the September bills in. It looks very much as though we've made less profit than last year. Which is great, because our tax bill last year was only about £5,000. So, and if it's £5,000 again this year, I shall be very happy. And my accountant, he just doesn't understand me. My accountant doesn't understand me. He's like, when these firms come on the news and they say, oh, Marks and Spencer's reported a pre-tax loss of £200 million this year. And I'm like, oh, lucky old them. My wife says, no, that's bad, isn't it? They made a loss. And I said, they haven't made a loss. what they've done is they've managed to engineer a loss, so they don't pay any tax. That's how it works. Nobody wants to make a profit. You have to pay tax on profit. What you do is you make a tiny little profit, just enough to be for your accountant to be able to say that I've had a word with Angry, and Angry assures me that these businesses are going concern. You know, it's not a cross-channel swimmer. It's not even an Olympic swimmer. It's more like a 5-year-old in a rubber ducky ring. But it's going. It's a float. It's a float. So I'm exactly where I want to be. And living life to the full. Working half a week. Paying the staff. Paying the rent. Not paying the mortgage. And tomorrow I'm going to get on this Zenith, Ariens Zenith 60-inch cutter, which I tell you is a monster. It's a monster of a machine. Every time I look at it, every time I got on it, I think to myself, this is bigger than I remember. It's like a Sherman tank, but without the top bit and without the gun. That's when it drives like a tank. It's got 2 levers either side that steer it like a tank. So, and it's arriving tomorrow at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to go and tomorrow I shall be cutting the grass. I might take a bit of video of it because I dare say I won't have this up and online. I've got about 4 videos behind at the moment. But anyway, yes, I think the staff are there. I don't want to come into work on a day when I'm supposed to be off. That's me all over, that is. Right, nice to talk to you. Talk to you soon. Bye.